Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Garrett Black. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we're going to do something a little different. For the first few minutes, I'm going to take a little look at a day in the life for me in Los... I'm just kidding. I know you're not here for that shit. We're going to get straight into the poker action in a second. I just want to quickly say today's vlog is going to be fast-paced, plenty of hands, plenty of action. I've included some of the smaller pots that don't normally make it in, so it's beefed out. I really hope you guys enjoy the show. Let's check out some hands. As mentioned in the introduction, we're going to blast through some hands today. It's going to be quick, it's going to be fast, so strap in and enjoy the ride. First real pot of the day comes 45 minutes into the session. I pick up a couple of J-boys on the button, cut off his limp for $20, I raise to $100, and then the straddle pops it to $320. It falls back around to me, and we're $1,500 effective, so I really don't mind just shoving it in, but for some reason I perceive him to be really strong here by the way he's acting, so I decide to just call and proceed with caution. To the flop we go. It is 9-6-5 with two hearts. He checks, and even though I'm reading him as very strong, I really should bet my hand here. But I decide to check back. The turn is the king of hearts, really not great, but he checks again, and I once again decide to check it back. To the river, it's an offsuit 7. He checks once more, and it's really hard to think of a worse hand that will call now, so I decide to just check it back. He shows me ace-10 of spades. Fantastic read for me once again in this vlog. I'm starting to think my live tells might actually need some work. All right, moving on now. The straddle is off this hand, but that's not going to stop under the gun raising to $50. I am next to act with ace-5 of diamonds. I would normally 3-bet this hand, but given the big raise, I decide to just flat. MP is going to punish us both by squeezing to $250 under the gun calls, and I don't love it, but I'm priced in now, so I make the call as well. Three ways we go to king 10-4 rainbow, not even a diamond, and when NPC bets for $275, we both just go ahead and make the fold. No luck there, hoping for a little more luck with these pocket kings though in the small blind. Hijack makes it $60 to go, cutoff calls, as does the button, and I put in a healthy squeeze to $360. Really annoying to see everyone fold until it gets to the button, who makes a bit of a fuck it shove and moves all in for $600 total. I of course call for $240 more. He's got ace deuce of spades. We're running at once here, and I turn him absolutely dead to take this one down, scooping in this $1,500 pot in the process. Very soon after this, I open pocket sixes and the hijack to $50. A local pro in the small blind makes it $200 to go, and given he's only got $1,500 because of the cap, I make a very disciplined fold here, definitely peeling if deeper, but at 75 bigs effective, I just let my hand go. I show him how disciplined I am by folding my pocket sixes. He shows me king queen suited, and we actually rabbit hunt a flop of jack 10-9. Now I'm hoping for that exact same flop when 15 minutes later I pick up my own king queen suited in the straddle. Same guy from the last hand makes it $50 to go. The big blind calls. He's the guy I stacked with my kings earlier, and I put in the squeeze to $250. The razor folds, but the big blind sticks around. He makes the call. To the flop, it is queen high. Dream spot for me here. I throw out a small c-bet for $175, and the big blind actually raises me very quickly to $500. Love these racks of chips being pushed about. Reminds me of grinding in the commerce back in the day. I go ahead and make the call. The turn is a 4, and he snap shoves for $1,000 total. Don't love it, but of course not folding. I ask if he wants to go once or twice. There's a bit of negotiation with regards to what do you have? No, what do you have? No, I asked you first, what do you have? Eventually we both sort our shit out and show our cards. He's got queen jack suited for a worse top pair, and 2 safe rivers later I have stacked the poor guy again. It's just not his day versus me so far today. I'm having a nice day overall after these 2 pots. Let's hope that continues for the rest of the day. Next up, I'm in the middle blind with ace jack offsuit. The cutoff makes it $50 to go. I decide to just flat this time. This is going to bring in the straddle as well. We go 3 ways to jack 8-7. Reasonable start here, and when it checks to the aggressor, he decides to check it back. I don't love that 10 on the turn. Once again, happy to see it check all the way around. The backdoor flush gets there on the river, but I think I have the best hand here very often. I also blocked that backdoor flush, so I decide to bet out here for $100. The straddle takes a while before folding, and the cutoff thinks for a moment himself. Look how he calls me. Absolutely love this. He launches a $100 chip over to me. Imagine I was bluffing though, and I had to throw him the $100 back plus interest. Next hand I'm on the button, and I pick up ace queen offsuit for what feels like the millionth time this trip. The double straddle is on here, so I pop it on up to $100. Only the double straddle makes the call. We go heads up to king 8-3 with a flush draw. He checks. I decide to c-bet here for $80. He makes the call. To the turn, it's a beautiful ace to give me top pair. I see no reason not to bet here, so I bet again for $250. Again, he makes the call. To the river, it's the 4 of hearts. Bit of an action killer, and when he checks to me, I decide to just check this one back. I'm still going to be good very often here, but what I cannot beat is king 8 for a flop 2 pair. Very sneaky from my opponent here in the double straddle. Moving on though, I'm on the button with ace 10 of diamonds. The cutoff is limp for $20. I raise it on up to $100. He makes the call and we see a flop of ace 6-4 with 2 clubs. He actually leads into me here for $150. I think my kicker is just about weak enough to call and not raise. Ace queen or ace king, I'd be raising always, but ace 10 I think is fine to call. To the turn, don't love that 7 of clubs one bit. He checks to me, and now my flush dart is beeping, so I check it back. The river is a king, and he bets out for $400. I can't beat any value. It's tough for him to be bluffing, and I have a feeling he's very strong here, so I make a disciplined fold, and he shows me king 10 of clubs for the absolute nuts. Let's go. Nice hand from both here. Glad I didn't decide to raise the flop. No luck with that suited ace. Let's hope this one goes a little better. The hijack is limp for $20. I make it $90 to go in the cutoff, and the button puts in the re-raise to $225. It folds all the way around to me, and it's a small re-raise here, so my price is good, and we're a bit deeper, so I decide to make a little bit of a loose call out of position. We go heads up to 8-7-5 with 1 club. I check, and he bets out for $175. I've got a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, so I make the call. The turn is the 8 of clubs that gives me a flush draw, and when I check again, the button is not scared by that board pairing card. He bets again for $600. I'm, of course, never folding, but I'm starting to think if I want to shove here, is he really going to bet his overpairs all the time on this card? If I do shove and he's got me beat right now, I've still got plenty of outs. So in the end, I decide to just go for it. I move all in for $2,200 total. He takes about 2 seconds before making the call. I ask him if he wants to go once or twice. He's a run at once kind of guy. And the river is the 5 of... Oh, wait, no, it's not a club. It's a spade. Fuck's sake. I announce ace high. He very kindly doesn't make me show my hand, and he turns over pocket kings. Biggest pot of the trip so far, but it's sliding the way of my opponent. And what's more, even though we're straddling again today, I can only buy back in for $1,500. Still, the grind goes on, and next hand I'm in middle position with pocket queens. Early position is limp for $20. I make it $100 to go next to act. The guy who stacked me in the last hand makes the call, as does the limper. We go 3 ways to 9-7 deuce with 2 spades. I see no reason not to see bet here. I bet $175. The guy to my left then clicks it to $400. Very small raise indeed. And the guy to my right calls all in for about $350 total. To be honest, I don't think there's much of a decision to be made here. I've got an overpair on a wet board. The SPR is low. I move all in, and once again, the guy to my left snaps. We're running at once for this pot worth around $3,500. I tried to film the run out, but I have absolutely butchered this one. And the guy to my left has got pocket 9s. I need a miracle queen to scoop, which does not come. Stacked again by the same guy, and all of a sudden I've gone from having a pretty good day here to being stuck about 3.5k. Still, I rebuy for the $1,500 cap, and the grind goes on. Next up, I'm in the small blind with pocket kings for the second time today. Let's see if they can serve as well as the last time. It folds round to me, and I raise it on up to $70. The straddle is the only caller here. We go heads up to jack 7-4 with 2 hearts. I decide to check to my opponent here, and he takes a stab for half pots. Given the wideness of both our ranges and how many draw completing turns there are, I decide to just check call. The turn is an offsuit 3. I check. Kind of happy to see him check back here. The river is the 10 of hearts. Flush gets there, but I think he'll bet a lot of his flush draws on the turn, so I decide to go for value here. I bet $225. I always take a very quick look at my opponent when I bet the river to see their initial reaction, and happy to see him grimace slightly. Sure enough, after 30 seconds, he cuts out the chips and makes the call. I show my kings, and he taps the table and mucks. Nice little value bet on the river there. And just a few hands later, we're tangling with the same guy again. I open it up in the cutoff with pocket 9s. He puts in the 3-bet from the middle blind to $210. We're about $1,600 effective here, and we're in position, and 9s are stronger than 6s, so I make the call this time. To the flop we go. It is 7-5-5 with 2 spades. He throws out a big c-bet here for $400. Don't love that one bit. Not because it's a bad size, but it puts me in a very awkward position. Feels like we have to go all in or fold here. Calling with such a low stack to pot ratio doesn't feel great. After a while, I decide with my backdoors I have to go with it. I move all in, and I get snap called. He's got pocket jacks, but we're going to run it twice here. Time for this episode's sub request. If I can somehow find a chop here, guys, those of you who are watching this who are not yet subbed to the channel have got to pause the video and click that sub button. Does that sound good? Okay, come on, dealer, let's get me some new subs.
This one?
Oh my god, Gazzy, you're a fish. If you get another one, I'll be mad.
Oh, how bad do I run? That's not me. Sorry?
We don't really believe you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Absolute 9-ball corner pocket here. Kind of disappointed not to win both, to be honest. Obviously, just kidding. The hand itself feels really gross on the flop, but versus a good player, I think shoving is the right play. And almost one orbit later, we're in a very similar position. This time, I'm in the hijack with pocket fours and raised to $50. The button makes the call, and the same player from the last hand squeezes from the small blind to $250. We're only around $1,800 deep here, so I think folding is the right play, but I'm just going to hold my hands up here and say that I was happy to gamble a little bit, make the call, see if I could flop a 4, and maybe double up. I do make the call, we go heads up to the flop, and what do you know, I flop a 4. This is the same type of board from the last hand, it's the same type as c-bet from my opponent, and once again, I just shove it in, albeit with a bit of a stronger hand this time. Funnily enough, he's also got pocket jacks again, running it twice as we always do, and 2 clean rivers later, I score a full double up, finally climbing back out the hole for the day. After this hand, it takes almost 90 minutes before I play any other pots of note. I'm on the button with ace, king of diamonds, love me a suited big slick. My buddy Aaron is raised in the hijack to $50. The cutoff makes the call, and I put the price of poker on up to $260. Aaron makes the call, we're both full to the brim with red wine at this point. We go heads up to ace, 7-4 rainbow, beautiful flop for me here. I say bet for $200. Aaron isn't going anywhere just yet. He makes the call. To the turn, it's an 8. He checks, and in hindsight, I think we have a very clear turn bet again here. Just going to blame this turn check on all the red wine. The river is a jack, and he checks again. Very clear value bet now. I try and extract $400 from him, but alas, he tells me that he's got pocket 10s and folds his hand. A couple of pots coming my way here, climbing out the hole for the day. And next up, I'm in the middle blind with king 9 offsuit. Easy raise for me here. I make it $70 to go. The big blind calls, as does the straddle. We go 3 ways to 9-6-6 rainbow. I check, as does the big blind, as does the straddle. To the turn, it's a very safe looking deuce. Time to start building a pot here. I bet $140. Only the big blind sticks around. To the river, it is the dreamiest 9 I've ever seen in my life. No, I take that back. The 9 from earlier is the dreamiest 9, but this is still pretty fucking good. I pause for a moment and then settle on $425 as my wager. And unlike in the last hand with my ace king, this time I'm going to get called. Nice little pot coming my way here. A bit of a heater the last few hands, building my stack up nicely in the process. And next up, I once again pick up pocket 4s. I make it $50 to go in the low jack. The small blind is a pro that I haven't played much with. He raises to $200. We're definitely deep enough now to go set mining here. So I go ahead and make the call. Heads up to the flop. No 4 for me, but it's not the worst flop in the world. The small blind bets out for $300. I think with the backdoor flush draw, we have a pretty mandatory call here. To the turn, it's an offsuit 10. My opponent now checks, and I take a few seconds before deciding to check back. The river is a queen, and my opponent checks once more. I snap check back, praying for him to show me ace king, but he's got ace 10 of diamonds for turn top pair. A little disappointing not to win that one. Really thought I had a chance of being good there. Next up is a fun hand. I'm in the small blind with ace queen offsuit, and the low jack is limp for $20 off of around a $500 stack. The hijack is the same guy from the last hand. He makes $100 to go, and I put in the 3-bet to $375. The limper folds, but the hijack decides to call. We go heads up to king 7-4 with 2 diamonds. Pretty good flop for my range, so I throw out a c-bet for $270. That's around 1/3 pots. The hijack makes the call. We go heads up to the turn, which is an offsuit 5. Lots and lots of 1-pair hands that I can make fold here, and I block some diamond hands that can call, so I bet again for $850. My opponent takes his time before once again making the call, really hoping he would fold there. To the river, it's an offsuit 5. Having a diamond is good on the turn, but bad on the river, so I wave the white flag and check, and when the hijack moves all in for $2,000, I don't mess around fake tanking. I make a pretty quick fold, annoying that my turn barrel didn't get the job done there, but what can you do? I was getting very close to even, but now quite far away again after this hand, thinking about leaving soon, but not before a PLO double board bomb pot hand, and this one is a fucking doozy. I've got ace king jack 8 double suited, and these are the 2 flops. Not a bad start at all. I thought about betting out, but decided to just check. The cutoff is going to bet for $200. The button moves all in for $450, and then the small blind shoves for $1,900. And it's bloody gamble time, ladies and gents. See yous all at the river, I guess. I re-shove, really happy to see the cutoff, not loving life, but after a few seconds, he does decide to make the call. We have got a 4-way all-in here for a huge PLO double board bomb pot. Just going to play the clip. Good luck, us.
I have 2 pair, straight draw, flush draw. Your my flush draw is no good.
Flush is not coming. This is fun.
All right. This is the main time with the run it.
Yeah, run it, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Oh my god, how does it come? How does it come? Good hand, good hand.
Oh no! Yeah, I mean, if you got the nut flush? Yeah.
I can't complain too much given I sucked out with my flush, but if only my trip 8s had held, it would have been a huge pot and I would have been well into profit for the day. Crazy swings over the last couple of hours, but again, building up a big stack, trying to get out the hole, only for Nick Airball to come over and literally punch it into the felt and then walk off laughing with his high-stakes buddies, high school all over again. The game goes four-handed after this, and I gotta tell you, playing fast-paced, four-handed, four-blind poker, drunk as a skunk and trying to log hands in the process is really hard. The only hand I was able to note down is a very fun one. The small blind calls for 20. I make $100 to go with pocket kings in the middle blind. The big blind calls and the straddle pops it to $420. We're about 4K deep at this point. I put in the 4-bet to $1,100, really hoping I don't run into aces here, but he smiles and flashes me 7 deuce. To be fair, it was suited. The grind goes on for a little longer before we break the game, and I head to the cashier after a really swingy day, only down $374 in total. Alright guys and girls, that is going to do it for another episode. I lost $374. I was up a bunch, and then I was down a bunch, then I was nearly even, then I was down a bunch again, then I was going to leave, and then I won that PLO bomb pot and was close to even, so stuck around for another hour or so. I had a lot of fun today. The game sucked. I don't say that often, but today it really sucked, but it was still a lot of fun. We had a couple of bottles of red wine. You know, I mean, the game is tough here sometimes, but the eggs are not nits. They're putting money in the pot at least. Which is always fun. Yeah, that'll do it from me. Thank you very much, as ever, for tuning in. Click that sub button. Until next time, take it easy.